Hi, to create two telephones connecting using CME routers, it's better to have a separate directory for the router. Inside the router directory, make sure that you have all the bin files and images. Now you create a router.sh file inside the router directory in which you will do the lines I'll show to create the two new routers in the same file. These are the commands or the modification I made to the file in order to create the two new routers. I put this here just in case for the people who need it. And then you can just execute your router.sh file and then you can tell it in to configure the routers itself. We use port 2521 and 2522 because that's the ports we used in the router.sh file when we were creating or describing the router ports. Now we will start with the actual configuration on the routers itself. First we'll set the host name so we just don't get confused, and then we will start the configuration. First configuration is obviously the interfaces, assigning them with an IP. On R1 we are using IP 192.168.56.5, and on R2 we are going to be using 192.168.56.6. Just like that, we assign the IP on both the sides on interface FA00. Then we set the clock. Make sure to use your own time, don't copy me. Also, you will have to specify the month, date, and the year after the times, like after you describe the time. This is just, I'm gonna show you other way you can set by specifying the time zone, but we already configured using the like manual way, so we're not gonna use that. Now we will go into the telephone service, ePhone rag. Then we're gonna describe how many ePhones maximum we are allowing, which is 2. And then we are allowing only 20 maximum DNs. You can change it up afterwards or whenever you like. Right now we are just using 2 maximum ePhones and 20 DNs. Then in the source address, we're gonna give 56.5 port 2000. After that, you can obviously configure your system message and create CNF files. You do the same process for R2, but you have to change the IP. We're gonna give it 56.6 using the same port. Then again, configuring the system message, it can be same, and then create CNF files again. Then we'll create ePhone 1. This process is connecting the telephone to your actual configuration that you put here. So we are gonna give it MAC address of 0800.2787.4B8D, which is basically reflecting to the VM I have Windows, its MAC address. So this is making sure that this configuration is sent to that MAC address. Then we go inside the DN. We can give it number, which is gonna pop up when you open up the Cisco IP communication form. Same thing goes for R2, but we create ePhone 2. You can also create the same number like 1, but I'm just going with 2. Then you give MAC address again, and then ePhone DN, your number. I'm gonna give it 7955 on R2 or on ePhone 2, and then ePhone 1 is 7855. Then we can give buttons to 1. 2 is basically button 2 and 1 is for ePhone 1, and then on the R2 it's 2 because it's named ephone 2. Then we configure the dial pairs 7955, which is reflecting to actually the other side. This time we are giving the like numbers and IP addresses of the opposite router so they can connect. So in session target, we are giving IP of 192.168.56.6, which is R2 IP, not R1. And then on R2, we are gonna give IP and then 7855, which is R1 configuration. So you can see here dial peer voice 7855 and then destination pattern IP, it should be 192.168.56.5. And then we go inside each phone and then restart the service, and in a sec you'll see registered message, which means that phones are successfully registered, and now you can open the Cisco phones on your VMs and they will receive the configuration that you configured on your R1 and R2. The VM1 Cisco phone will receive its configuration from R1 because you can also see its phone number 7855, which we configured in R1, and then CIPC VM2 telephone will receive its configuration from R2. Now they're both able to connect because the configuration was right and everything is working. Thank you very much.